Hi, I'm Josh. I'm here today with Greg Kroleski, who is part of the product management team at Databricks, working with a lot of cost management and ROI related components. Thank you so much for being here, Greg.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Greg, what are some of the challenges that you are noticing organizations face when it comes to understanding the ROI of their technical stack? Not just specifically to Databricks, but just across the board.
Yeah, on the cost side, the big topic these days for everyone is how much they're spending on AI, on tokens, that everyone's seeing the exponential curve. Um, I cover a few things here at Databricks now. I certainly still cover some of the FinOps and cost management side of the house with the folks on my team that work on that, but I'm also more and more involved in kind of the DevOps and SRE side, as well as the SecOps, the security folks that are monitoring things. And really, all of those areas are seeing a lot of evolution right now as things are evolving really rapidly. We went from a world where, um, vulnerabilities in a code base might take weeks to exploit to find out about to a point where this stuff can get released and within hours someone's taking advantage of something. We went to a point where we can operate much faster on scale, where someone can run away and spend $1 million in a couple of hours. And so everyone wants to do everything faster, and that is monitoring spend and acting on it. That is monitoring infrastructure and understanding, is it up, is it serving things, what's the quality of it. It is understanding security, who's got access to data, is it being exfiltrated. So I think everything has gotten more real time, and there's a lot of kind of built up anxiety over how fast things are changing and what this means to some of the best practices that have been around for a while.
What about more specific to the pain points that Databricks customers have been working through?
Yeah, so on the cost side specifically, I see a lot of customers wanting to understand how much they're spending on AI in a much more real-time way. I've been working in cloud billing for about 8 years now between Google Cloud and Databricks. And, when I started in the space, folks were pretty happy seeing their spending, on a daily basis, how much is happening and watching it. Some people only checked weekly, an invoice might get issued monthly. With the way things are moving in AI, folks want to see this stuff hourly or sooner. They want to know right away what's happening. And so, we've been doing a lot on the Databricks side to speed up our billing pipelines. We have, so we're one of the industry leading latencies in terms of how quick the billing information gets to you. And we're trying to push that even farther. Not only that, on the AI side, we've been talking about how do we help folks understand what they're spending, not just on the AI they're serving, um, models that are served through Databricks, but external models that are served through Unity AI Gateway. How can they understand the combined sum of that? So they're kind of seeing the whole picture of it. So we've been thinking about both of those things at the same time. How do we zoom out and incorporate more into what we're tracking? And how do we speed up and make sure we're getting this information faster so folks can action on it before it's gotten out of control? This is our budgets tool that we've had for a bit in Databricks, but in a world of AI, we've heard a lot of folks want to understand how much they're spending on AI specifically. And so we worked with the Databricks AI team to say, hey, how can we expand upon the features we already had and make this more specific to AI? So, if you've been using Databricks a while, the budgets tool might look familiar. We've been showing shared spend in the past. And so, how much were you spending in this workspace, or how much were you spending that was tagged with this? And that's still very useful when you're looking at, AI gateway spend, how much is going through there. But you sometimes want to break it down and understand an individual user. And so that's one of the things we expanded to of, hey, you have an overall budget that you want to spend, but you also had a target per user, and you want to understand who individually is exceeding that. You often have these kind of like exponential curves where someone is kind of like disproportionately using. And so being able to drill in that way and call it out and set different alerts is something we've heard a lot of requests for. And so that's one of the ways we've been expanding this budget feature to work with new products. Still being able to do a lot of the classic things of look at overall team spend or spend by a tag, but being able to drill down more specifically. And we've got more coming here as we talk with customers and what they want to do. Some of them want to take immediate action and pause things. Some of them want that person to ask for approval and integrate with the workflow. And so that's the direction we're having conversations in and saying, okay, how can we keep making this work for our customers to understand whether they're serving, models from a third party, whether they're serving through Databricks, et cetera. That's the area we're spending a lot of time thinking on.
How do you set up a budget, Greg?
Yeah, so setting up budgets remains pretty easy. You name it something. You decide on what the scope is. Is it all of your workspaces or specific ones? Now we have these two types of budgets. You can monitor all of your Databricks spend, or you can specifically look at Unity AI Gateway if you want to look at that AI specific set of things. In this case, let's say we want to look at our AI spend. We can look at how much are we looking to spend overall? Maybe we don't want to spend more than $100,000 in a month, and we'd set up an alert email address on that. And we want to make sure that no individual user is spending more than 1,000. We can set up both of those, which will allow us to monitor each of them. And so we can see on an individual basis, is any user spending more than that? As a group, are they spending more? And independently get alerted on both of those things, which is something we've heard a lot of requests. So then we go ahead and we create the budget, and that'll spin up. It takes a little while for all the data to flow, so we'll see it setting up now, but we'll come back, grab a cup of coffee, and that'll be populated, and we can check out how those things are going.